Today, we're diving into a really crucial part of the IELTS speaking test that honestly often gets overlooked. We are going to talk about pronunciation, and more specifically, we're going to unlock the secret to sounding natural by truly mastering English rhythm. Welcome to the IELTS Focus. In this explainer, we are honing in on the exact pronunciation techniques that can seriously boost your score. So let's jump right in. All right, let's start with a big one. Have you ever wondered about this? You know, someone can have perfect grammar, a huge vocabulary, but when they speak, it just doesn't sound quite right. It doesn't have that natural flow. It's a super common issue, and the answer isn't about learning more words. It's actually about music. Yep, you heard me right. The secret is all in the rhythm of the language itself. It's about understanding that English has its own special beat, and once you learn to hear it and then reproduce it, your speaking completely transforms. Okay, so this slide breaks it down perfectly. A lot of languages, think Spanish or Japanese, are what we call syllable timed. It's like a steady drum beat. Da, 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 da. Every single syllable gets about the same amount of time. But English? English is totally different. It's a stress-timed language. The rhythm isn't based on syllables, it's based on the stressed words. And the time between those main beats stays pretty much the same, which means all the other little unstressed syllables have to get squeezed in between. And this really gets to the heart of it. To create that rhythm in English, we essentially swallow weak sounds and even whole weak words. Now, this is not lazy speaking, not at all. It's actually a fundamental part of the language that makes the message much clearer and more meaningful for the listener. So, how do we actually do this, right? What's the practical step? Well, the first big technique is to stop thinking word by word and start speaking in meaningful chunks. This right here is the classic mistake, pronouncing every single word with the same emphasis. When I was a child. See how that sounds? It's very mechanical, almost robotic. And it's really tough for a listener to follow because there's no natural phrasing to grab onto. Now, check this out. This is the solution. We naturally group words into these meaningful phrases, and we take a tiny little pause between them. When I was a child, that's one thought. I lived in Africa, that's the next. Those little rests give your listener's brain a split second to process the idea before you move on. It makes all the difference. I absolutely love this analogy. Thinking about speaking like you're singing a song is just the perfect way to picture it. You'd never sing a song one single note at a time, right? No way. You connect the notes into beautiful musical phrases, and that is exactly what chunking does for your speech. Okay, so let's build on that idea. If chunking is about where you pause, our second technique is all about what's happening in between those pauses, and it really comes down to mastering weak sounds. And the absolute king of all weak sounds is the schwa. It's that super relaxed, neutral sound you hear in words like about or mother. In a stress-timed language like English, all those unstressed vowels just naturally reduce down to the sound. You could say it's kind of the glue that holds the entire rhythm together. So which words are we talking about swallowing? Well, it's usually these small grammatical function words. You know, articles like and the, pronouns, conjunctions, those little helping verbs and prepositions. These are the words that get weakened, often to that schwa sound, so that the really important words, the nouns and the main verbs, can stand out and carry the meaning. Okay, let's talk about the big question. How does all this rhythm and chunking stuff actually impact your IELTS score? Well, the answer is a lot. Let's look right at the official band descriptors from IELTS. See the language they use? At a band 5, they're looking for lapses in overall rhythm. To jump up to a band 6, they note that your rhythm may be affected by a lack of stress timing. And to get into that top tier, a band 7, you have to show you can sustain flexible use of features. Guess what that includes? Stress, rhythm, and intonation. It's right there in black and white. Your control over rhythm is a massive factor in your score. So the most important takeaway here is that this isn't just about sounding good or more native. An IELTS examiner is specifically trained to listen for these features. When you show them that you understand and can use stress timing and chunking, you're sending a very clear signal that you have a high-level command of English pronunciation. And that brings us to one last thing for you to think about as you practice, which is more helpful. Should you focus more on just how English sounds by listening and imitating? Or is it more powerful to focus on how it feels to say it? That physical sensation of stressing certain words and then relaxing on the others. It's a great question to guide your practice. Thanks for joining me, and good luck. That's all for this explainer.